You there, Dwight?
I'm here.
What's going on? Sorry, you're the only one here, so figured
Oh,
I'd
wow.
say hello. I think during the holidays, a lot of people, don't come to a lot of classes.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm here.
Nice. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I was going to give you another 2 minutes and then sign off. Wait, have you been? Were you on one of the other classes?
No.
Okay.
I've been trying to reach out to you the past couple of days, though. My sister saw one of your properties. And one
Oh shoot, that's right. Sorry, I've been like mobbed with people. I had it to follow. I had it on my list to follow up with everyone else this afternoon. Let me see your email here.
I think she ended up finding this. I think she texted me and told me. I told her I would be on a Zoom with you today, and I probably have some more info.
Okay. You said she likes unit 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Makes over 40,000. Yeah, if it's just we use just the standard PAR app. I'm gonna be looking over everything like today or tonight. So if you want to send one in,
Okay.
that's the best way.
Okay.
We had a couple other people interested in I know one unit 3, I think 1 or 2 in unit 2. Yeah, so just depending on when she wants to move and all that other good stuff, we can figure it out.
Okay.
All right. I mean, so given that there's just 2 of you, I'm happy to like run through slides and all that, but like I feel like a lot of the value in these classes is like having conversations. So would you rather you want me to like I usually don't have a ton of slides. Would you rather go through slides or just have a conversation kind of class, or
You feel it's best, man. I just want to learn.
all right. Let me look at the slides I have here. This is 301. Let's see here. Wow, this is crazy. The slideshow is like totally blank. The 101 and 201s are good.
We could just talk. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a better idea.
I'm actually looking into getting my second investment. Well,
Okay.
I've had a couple of properties in the past, but I've sold them, and of course, I wasn't a realtor at the time. And now me and my wife, we have one investment property.
All right.
We're about to sell the property we have in Delaware, and I'm looking to get 3 out of this after we sell this one.
Like get 3 more.
Payment, yeah. Oh, we'll
Gotcha.
get one. We'll get one for us to live in, and then looking to finance two more investment properties.
Are you moving to the city?
No, we're gonna stay out Delaware. The investment properties will be in Philly. Of course, I'm from Philly.
Gotcha.
So our investment properties will be in Philly, but we'll stay out Delaware still.
Nice. And by the way, Cecil, I know you're muted and camera's off, but if you feel free to jump in if you have any questions, because we're going off the slides here because the slide is broken. I'm looking at it. The last time I opened it, September 22nd, it was working, and now it's not working. So
I was just gonna put in the chat that I was gonna log off and wait for the next time.
Okay, fair enough.
Good to see you though.
Likewise. All right. So you're gonna buy a place down in Delaware and then try and get maybe 2 more up in Philly.
Yep.
Are you mean like just like straight 20% down, kind of get them and let them run kind of thing?
I may be able to get one. Yeah, it'll be 20% down here.
Nice. That's a good look. So what's like your long-term, what's your long-term goal? Or like, I know everybody gets into investing for different reasons, but people like to flip or buy, they're trying to buy bigger stuff or just buy stuff for cash flow or.
Yeah, I'm just looking for cash flow. I'm looking get all the bills paid through my investment properties and fund my vacations and kids schooling and all that good stuff.
Nice. Have you ever done any rehabs, or did you rehab the house that you purchased? You said.
What I heard, the house that I purchased in the past, I rehabbed them, and I was staying in them. And then when I wanted to move, I just sold them.
Gotcha.
It
Which is
wasn't
always a
really
good move.
flip. It wasn't really flip. I was, I was staying there. Excuse me.
Right. But it's a good move because you're not paying capital gains if you're living in it. So, are you sure you're trying to learn more about, like, have you thought about doing the buy, rehab, and refinance strategy?
So any advice?
Sorry, you froze for a second there.
No, I'm saying any advice on as far as investing goes.
I mean, what I would say is it's probably worth considering, like, if you're going to sell and have enough of a profit to be able to put down payments on other places. I think it all depends on how aggressive you want to be. If you want to keep the chain going, and then I would suggest looking at buying, buy a place that needs a lot of work. You fix it up, then you can refi and pull all your money back if you do it right. And then you can keep doing that over and over again. Once you sink, if you're buying something with straight up 20% down, 25% down, whatever, and you sink your money in there, you're not going to see that money for a long time. It's still great, but then you have to figure out a way to, I don't know, find more down payments. So that's kind of what we've been doing. We've been doing the buy rehab route. And I mean, obviously we've all been lucky in Philly the past couple of years. So the appraisals have been coming in good, and we're able to pull most, if not all, of our money back out. And then we keep the whole cycle going. So if anything, I would say it's worth considering that if you're not afraid to rehab and do construction.
Yeah. So the investment properties that we get, they're probably definitely going to need some work.
Okay.
And I was, of course, considering pulling some money out of it and keeping it going. Yeah.
Nice. You know what areas you're looking in yet?
Say it again.
You know what areas? Like, have you figured out a few areas that you want to go for, or you're still working on that?
I've been seeing some stuff in like North Philly.
Gotcha.
Where I've been thinking I can get some some good value.
I think you can. Believe it or not, I still have not bought a place in North Philly yet, and I'm like looking at a map of the city right now. I'm trying to buy my first place in Port Richmond right now, which definitely doesn't count as North Philly, but I'm not as familiar with, like, I know some of the areas, but like the whole rest of the city, it's so block by block. I don't know where I feel best about,
Right.
Like, I know a few guys who feel good about just following the L up and staying within a couple blocks, because as long as you can still get down to Center City, like, but I don't really know. What part of did you grow up in North Philly?
I grew up in South Philly, so I would prefer to buy something in South Philly, but South Philly is, not those numbers are just,
It's insane.
inflated. Yeah.
It's mad expensive. I just bought my house in South, I'm in Point Breeze right now. I bought it last year, but paid way more than I would ever want to. I think it's worth it long term, but if this were just like a rental, I would never be in for the kind of number that I'm in here for.
So what are the main things that go into your I guess your make up your criteria when you're looking for an investment?
We're mainly just looking for stuff that if whether it's a house or a duplex or a triplex, we just follow the basics, like trying to be all in for 75% ideally of what it's worth. So um if we're getting it depends. Like I just finished a couple places and refinanced them. But for example, like there's one place we bought a duplex in 19104 in Belmont. We bought it for like 127, and then we ended up spending right around 100 into it. So when you throw on hard money interest, all that closing costs, whatnot, we're probably all into it for like 240-ish. And the it appraised it. I thought it was going to appraise a little bit higher. We got it appraised. It ended up being worth 335, and so we could get a loan for 80%. Pull, what was it, like 260 or something out, somewhere around 260, and then get all of our money back. And the payment on that loan is like, I don't even remember. It's maybe like 1400. I usually know these numbers, but I actually haven't looked at my closing docs yet because we haven't made our first payment. So I haven't like done my whole, put it all on my phone. But payments like 1400. The taxes, insurance will be a couple $100 a month. And each unit's going to rent for the downstairs will rent for 11, maybe 12. The upstairs will rent for 13, 14. So there'll be hopefully like $800 a month spread in between there. So that's kind of what we look for. Stuff like that where we can get most of our own money back out, and rents are just going crazy everywhere in the city. So I think the hardest part right now for me is like I'm pretty conservative, but I've been too conservative a lot of times and not only thinking like, oh, hey, we're going to get like, if this were a year or two ago, I would have thought we would have gotten, this building would have made like 2,200 a month, but it's probably going to make like 26 or $2,700 a month. That's the hard part. Like it would, and that means you can justify paying more if the rents are that much higher. If they're 20 or 30% higher than you think they are, then hey, the building's worth more. So that's all we're trying to do. Get we'll be all in for like 75% ideally, or less. Or a little bit more if it's like a really good area I feel good about. But that's what we've been doing, buying 1 to 4 units. And so now we're just doing the same. What's that?
I'm sorry. So when you're saying all in for 75%, like 75%, or a little bit more, a little bit less, what's the mindset behind that?
It's because that's a safe enough margin. And when I say 75%, I'm talking about like the final appraised value, right? And what I think it could actually sell for. The mindset is you have to have, if you end up being all in, and all in mean like all your purchase costs, your rehab costs, your hard money interest, all that stuff, everything. If you spend more than that, like you're getting too close, if you get too close to what it's really worth, I think it's much riskier, because then if something goes wrong, if your rehab budget goes way over or something, and you get stuck in a position that you need to sell something, you've got no room. Because say you have
I thought you meant like cash out of pocket.
No. Whether it's cash or financing, that's different. Like we get hard money loans, or call them private money loans. They're not really that as expensive as hard money loans, but we get short-term construction loans for everything. So the amount of cash that's in is totally different. It's as little as possible. It's usually somewhere around like 30 to 40% of what the whole project is. So that's a different number. But yeah, I'm talking about everything altogether. And Al, thank you for joining us, by the way. If you're there, I think you jumped on after we talked a little bit. We're just doing a little bit of, my slides were broken for this class. Something happened between the last time I taught it, so we're just having a conversation. So feel free to shoot any questions or anything you have out, and I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, not cool. I was just pretty much just listening. I do have. I heard you all. I do have I get 3 or 4 properties. Well, I push out 3 or 4 properties. At least, let's say on average 2 or 3 a day. I could add you all to my email list. A lot of them, most of them have been in North Philly. We haven't had any South Philly properties lately.
Okay.
And yeah, I could just add you all to my email list and they'll just come through. I mean, they're good deals. I mean, we do all the, I do all the work, with the packets and everything, pictures and all that good stuff. ARV.
Cool. Are you
And that's
doing?
just
Are you wholesaling them?
I'm partnered with a wholesaling company. It's not a very large company, but our back end work is really, we got some salary employees doing a lot of the back end work. So it's really, really efficient.
When you say
so
back end work, do you mean like skip tracing people or
skip all that stuff? Skip tracing,
Gotcha.
calling, sending out letters, all the grunt work, right? We have salary employees doing that on the back end. So
Cool.
we're really able to push out stuff really fast with good numbers. And these things they move fast. Like for example, we may have something that comes out at 1:00 and it may be gone by 3.
Right.
And so it's really, really fast moving. So, just another opportunity for you to have, inventory coming to you that you necessarily have to look for.
I'm open to it, and I understand it's the nature of how things work and how fast things work, especially with investments. It's really quick, so I'm all about that.
Right, yeah, and I work with a few investors around the city. Obviously, I'm a realtor as well, so I'm very familiar with some of the things. And I was an investor as well. Light stuff in South Carolina and then out here a little bit.
Is that where you're from?
No, I'm from DC.
From
Born
DC,
and raised.
cool.
I've been coming back and forth to Philly for a while. I actually signed a full scholarship at Temple University out of high school.
Nice.
Yeah. Finished up in South Carolina. That's how I got down there. And then, came back to Philly. My brother and my sister live out here. So
Gotcha. So what are you looking to, it sounds like you have a couple things going on and you've got employees, you got a little system, you're moving investment properties. What are you looking to do just generally investment wise, if anything? Are you trying to buy stuff? Are you trying to build up some cash or?
Yeah, I'm just my goal is to build out a portfolio. I'm trying to get into, get experience in residential and then move into commercial, larger commercial, eventually get into buildings, like apartment buildings, huge, 30, 40 units.
You said building new buildings or selling them?
The whole gamut, a construction building, like brand new construction building from ground up,
Right.
30 unit, 40 unit up, you know what I mean? Big stuff, my brother's he's a finance guy, so he heads a lot of the finance stuff. And I just handle the real estate stuff. So that's the goal. I'm actually going to Maryland to meet with my uncle's best friend, which is one of the largest commercial brokers he does a lot of work in the Maryland and DMV area. So I'm gonna go meet with him, kind of pick his brain a little bit, have him mentor me in that aspect, and then just go from there, but Philly's definitely my area.
Cool. Yeah, that's
so that's the goal. I mean, I'm still fresh, so I mean, like I jump on here because you got a lot of knowledge, and I do want to learn a lot from you as well. So anything that can help me win. If you have any knowledge or any advice for me, just let me know.
I think it depends so much on what you want to focus on. That was a lot there for went to a couple different places, and we're trying to do the same thing. Like, not trying, we are doing the same thing. I've been buying houses and duplexes and triplexes, and I don't want to do that anymore because it's awesome, and we make a couple $100 a month, and we have some equity, and it's great, and I'm super thankful for that. But it's not fast enough, so we're going after some larger stuff, and we're starting the first one. I did one larger project, but it was a sale development. But now we're working on, we're building our first of all, we're doing our first new construction, and it's an 8-unit in West Philly. So we just I just cut a check to the architect last week and we're moving, but looking to do the same thing. We're selling all some of our houses, trying to get some money back, and so we can put it into something bigger.
Right.
I've been looking at 30 units and lots that we could do 30, 40, 50 units on, because the money is like no longer the problem. It's actually just like finding something that's good, which I
Right,
used to
right,
be able to say, but yeah.
right. See, that's
So
good because you've already done a lot of the work where you know how you say you tied to the duplex and stuff. Now you're really a transition.
yeah.
That's kind of what I'm kind of getting my feet wet per se. You know what I mean in that area.
Hmm.
Now my like you know you hear me talk about my brother a lot. He's more experienced when it comes to just finance. And he's been working on a larger level. You know, private equity, institutional investors. So he's
Yeah.
handling that aspect of it. So the growth is kind of on. That's kind of something he's going to handle. So don't get me wrong. I'm not that savvy yet, right?
Hmm.
To do the 30 units and all that, right?
Yeah.
I just know I have a good support system around me, right? And they the one that has the experience, right?
Yeah.
And I know what I know, right? I'm the real estate guy, right? I know what I know. I know how to go find properties, all these other things, right? So just kind of playing my position. So learning from you will be beneficial to me as well. So
The one thing I would
I don't
say,
want to discourage that. You know what I mean? I don't want you to
yeah,
say, hey, the guy he knows, so I don't really need to teach him. No, I want to learn, you know. So
I hear you. The one thing I would encourage you to remember is like it's it's literally the same thing. If like you're saying you're making packages and all that for the properties that you're selling and it's there's not much of a difference even the whole like raising money and the private equity side and all there's all these terms people throw around, but it
right,
boils down to the same thing. It's like
right,
so instead of someone if someone were giving you money to buy a house and you were going to partner with them, they might give you 50 or 60 grand. If they're giving you $5 million, it's like the same thing. They might want an 8% return, except people just structure it in these ways where they're like, oh, you're going to get a preferred return. And I'm going to split the rest of it to 30/70 and do a waterfall. And they say all this stuff that sounds complicated, but
right,
it's
right,
so literally, it's so simple. And I've seen the back end of how some of these things, how people organize some of their
right.
these huge projects, and there's no
And
difference.
Rodney, it's funny that you say that because I was listening to another guy. He does commercial. He's also with KW. Who is I can't remember his name, but that's the same thing he was saying, right? He was like,
Maybe
when
Andre, if he's in our office.
it might have been Andre. And he was saying, people look at commercial real estate and they get scared because of the number. And he was like, it's no different from
No
doing
different.
residential. It's the same thing, right? And it's
Yeah.
funny that he said that because that's how I was kind of looking. Because my first opportunity was a commercial real estate, deal, and I
Mm.
jumped right into it. And so people were like, "You doing commercial?" Like they was kind of freaking out, like commercial. Like, oh, slow down, you don't. And I'm like, shit, the numbers are the same. I mean, it's just a larger number. It seems like
Yep.
the process is the same, So I guess my ignorance made me fail this, right? So I just went at it, So
And look, it's the same thing I'm saying to you is the same advice I tell myself. I'm like, don't forget, like this is it. There's no difference every time we're looking at, like this building is going to cost us $1 million, more than $1 million to build. It's like, oh shoot, the biggest rehab I've done is I don't know, a couple hundred grand, but
mhm.
it's the same thing. It's like the loan might be 5 times bigger, but it's the same process. And if we don't have enough money, then we can go find someone to put in money in, just like how we would do with the house. So
Right, right.
um
And so let me ask you this: early on, when you first started, what were because I talked to a lot of people, and even I kind of went through this a little bit, like just pulling the trigger, right? Some people, overanalyze things and they're like, well, I don't want this to go wrong. What were some of the things you used to kind of just say, hey, let me just jump in this? Was it your support system? Did you just was like,
yeah.
hey, you know?
My first place I bought, I think I'm the opposite, where I jump into things. I can tend to jump into things too quickly. So I don't know if you would call me higher risk or whatever, but when I first started learning about real estate, generally I was 19 and I was going to Drexel and I was studying engineering. And I moved in this house with a bunch of roommates and it was cool and everything. And then this one roommate, he's the one who got me into real estate. He gave me the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. You probably heard of it, right?
Yeah.
And so he was with our office. That's why I'm here at KW. And so I like read that whole book, and then I decided I was like, holy shit, I got to buy a house right now, because like I didn't know anything about, but my parents are pretty conservative. Like my mom's been an admin most of her life. My dad's been a programmer. They've been successful in their careers, but like we've never talked about investment or you're
Right,
owning your
right.
own business or taking risks. Like So none of that. So it was so exciting to like just even read about like what you can do this. And so I just jumped right in, and I borrowed a little bit of extra money from Drexel actually, and I just bought a house in Southwest Philly. I watched some wholesaling videos on something like on how to find how to prospect, and I happened to ask my boss at my co-op job I was working. I was like, "Yo, do you know anyone that's trying to sell a house?" And he referred me to somebody. I lost all my money doing it. Is the short story. So I gave him like 8 grand, and he deeded me the house, which was a terrible idea. I didn't get title insurance. I put it in LLC, which is the only thing I did right. But I pretty much lost like all my money and then some. Um, so I'm glad I did that because like it just got me, and it scared me for a couple years. That's why I ended up getting my real estate license. Is I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out how this really works, and I'll learn by working with other people, right? And then, but 5 or 6 years later, which this is kind of maybe more applicable to your question, like I didn't know how to get back in to investing because I kind of been scarred by that experience of like losing my money and all that. So, and I didn't have any money, my credit still sucked. So I just decided I would go with I left KW for like 18 months, and I went with a development company on Washington Avenue called Streamline. So they were building a lot of stuff around Point Breeze and Temple mainly. So I figured like, all right, I've been watching lots of videos, and like it seems like I gotta figure out what I'm gonna add to a project, and that so I need to learn everything about everything. So I wanted to become like an expert about learning about construction costs. I already knew a lot about financing and all that. So and I just kind of learned the whole picture, like values in a particular neighborhood. I just chose West Philly because I used to live at 35th and Brandywine and whatever, like that's the area. And I just learned everything I could, and then that's how I ended up convincing somebody to partner with me and put up the money because I didn't have the money.
Right.
So that's the simple, like you really got to learn once you know what you're talking about and really know what you're talking about and know how much it really costs to rehab a house and why, and you have all the content, like the 101 class, that's what we go over. It's just like it's this really simple stuff that people don't give credit to. Like once you have a list of a couple electricians, a couple HVAC guys, framers, plumbers, like finance guys, refinance lenders, hard money lenders. If you have that whole database and you know everything about how much a house costs, you know how you're going to get in, you know how you're going to get out, and you know which lender you're going to use, and you know how much it's going to rent for if you can't sell it, and you can show why. Okay, if we end up spending a little bit more, we'll still be okay. Whatever. If we need to refinance it, it's going to work out. Once you can have that conversation with someone, it makes it really easy for them to then the money is only that like 20% of the equation. It's like, hey,
Right.
I have everything else figured out. I just need you to put in the money so we can actually do this.
Right.
And this
Right.
is how
Right.
you're gonna not lose your money.
Right. How was you able to get that list together of people? Did you just like call people, or is it a
Yeah,
list that was referred to you?
yeah.
Just call people.
Just call people.
Right.
And I I I think like the way I talk to people is something intangible I don't really talk about. Like I try and make it, I want people to like want to take my phone call. So if I'm calling someone to ask, because so many people like try and get information out of people, and they're like they don't add any value to them or make it easy. I just try and
Right.
make it easy for people. Like I was building relationships with a lot of subs because I was working at a construction company. They were really cool guys. Every once in a while, I would just ask a little question about this, and I try and like do research on something and try and find the answer before I ask a question. A lot of people will come and like I get Instagram messages. Hey, can you mentor me? Like, I'm looking for a mentor. If somebody like, and I never respond to them. But if somebody, every once in a while, someone will come with like a really intelligent, specific question. Hey, I was looking at a house here and I tried to find out the rent and I looked on this website and blah, 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 blah. They show that like they've done a lot of legwork and tried to find the answer, and they just need to know this one little thing. And I'm super likely to answer that. That's how I kind of approach conversations with all
Mm.
these different people. If I didn't used to know anything about hard money, and I went and watched a bunch of videos and then like found a guy. The first hard money lender I ever used was Direct Mortgage Loan Company. His name's Jared, and just asked him a couple specific questions, and he wanted to have a conversation with then he agreed to have a conversation. Like that's how we ended up getting our first hard money loan. But if that makes any sense, like I think that
No, it does.
method, it's so valuable, and so many people don't do it.
Right,
Like
right.
just
No, that
show
makes
that
sense.
show that you've done your legwork.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, no, I've done. That's good that you said that, because I mean, I've you know, in the process of, you know, us doing this, we got a collection of people, like you said, you know, and me, like for me, I I tend to focus on knowing what I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know sometimes people don't always have support around them, but I kind of when it comes to that finance stuff, I let my brother take care of that because he's an expert at this. So is it, you know what I mean? So I don't really, I know enough about finance not to get, to know what I'm talking about, but I don't really deep dive like that. Do you think that's an issue, or, you know what I mean?
Why not? What, like,
Okay.
why? That's the real question. Why not? It's awesome that he can take care of it and all of it. If you're depending on what level you're looking to get to, like you need to know enough to know what's going on and the basics. You know what I mean? So it's worth. I want to know everything about everything and just learn the basics, and then maybe I never do it. And okay, cool. I know how this works. And now you're going to do this for everything moving forward. But
Yeah,
again,
no, that's what
it's not complicated. It's not that complicated. The finances are not that complicated.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like I know I understand. Like I'm like you. I watch tons of videos on, creative financing, all types of creative financing, right? So I know those things, right? And I could sit there and have a conversation about it, But for me, my thing is it's the real estate and the acquisition part of it. That's really where I'm good at. So I'm just kind of picking your brain just to, but I do know enough to, to have, if I needed to do it by myself, I could. Right.
Right.
But, part of building a team is, for me is the quarterback plays, quarterback. He knows what the running back's doing. He knows what the receiver's doing, but his expertise is throwing that rock. Right.
Right.
So that's kind of my approach to it, if if it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely makes sense. And that's how it's like I feel the same way. Like it's like we have our admin Leah. She does so much stuff that I never ever want to do. And I learned a long time ago, like I know how command works pretty well. I don't know all the ins and outs, and I'm happy that I know all the ins and outs, but I know most of the basics and how it, I don't know, I haven't known a lot about computers, and maybe that's part of why, but you'd made me think about something and I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I mean it's and oh, this is what I was gonna say. This may not be applicable at all, but I think a lot of times what stops people from asking questions is because they don't want to seem what's the right word? They don't want to seem dumb. That's the word I'm thinking of. They don't want some people to know that they don't know the answer. But I think that I'm a fan of like I think if asking intelligent questions is one of the best ways to to build relationships with people, and I think people respect the more intelligent questions you ask, people will respect you really, really quickly, even if you don't know something. I'm sorry. I guess like look, I mean, I've this has happened to me plenty of times too, where like, I'm like, should I really ask this? Like people are talking about something, whether it's real estate finance or whatever. I'm like, and it might be something that it seems like it's basic to them, and you don't want to ask about it because they're gonna be looking at you like, why doesn't this guy know what we're talking about? But so I don't know if there's any part of it. That's what I was thinking of when you said that.
No, I mean, I'm a straight shooter when it comes to questions. If I need to know something, I'm gonna ask. That's how I learn.
That's good because a lot of people aren't like that.
Yeah, no, I've been a firm believer. I mean, my mom has pounded this in my head since I was younger. The only dumb question you ask, the only dumb question is the one you didn't ask.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit around and not know and guess and be like, oh, I don't really know. No, I'm going to ask, like, no, I don't really understand this. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Or, so I have a better understanding because that's how I'm able to process it, right, and get it. So no, I'm not, but for me is, I guess I'm an avid reader, so I've read, it's just you let the experts do what they do. I mean, but what's going on. But
Right.
but I do, I do understand as I grow, because here's the thing, right? And this is what I was gonna say. Because as I grow, right, I'll learn those things, right? You know what I mean? The intricacies of it, from that specific individual, so I'm speaking to my brother. So I ask him specific questions when it comes to deep diving into some of the things he's talking about. So we're having a conversation and he goes off on a tangent and I'm like, hold up, what are you talking about? So I'll stop him like, oh, let's stop there. Let's move back a little bit. Let's touch on this right here. Let's stay here for a little bit, right? And I'll get a better understanding from there and then we'll move on, So I'm always learning as we go along, right? Because that's the goal, right? To be in his brain, right? To have that knowledge. But I tend to kind of focus on what's going to grow, me and the operation that we're kind of running. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good way to look at it. And if you're really good at the acquisitions and and all that, then you definitely want to focus on that. So,
right.
what are you typically marketing to? Are you marketing? I know you were saying you have the whole team and all that. Are you doing stuff mostly in Philly?
Yeah, Philly. Well, I'm doing most of the stuff in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a portfolio in Camden as well. And the portfolio is about 50, 60 houses.
Okay. When you say portfolio, you mean people or leads you're working on, or?
No, this is houses. Okay, so we have a lady. She was two people. They own one of them owns, like, let's just say 20, and another owns 30, right?
Yeah.
So we're managing their whole portfolio. Pretty much, we're running all that in Camden, right? So we're helping them grow it. We're evaluating it. We're seeing what they need to do with it. How we can move. We're doing all that, right? And then we're growing in Philly as well. And that's what I'm doing in Philly. Working with investors, finding more local investors to work with, people that need help. In my personal, just because I work with the acquisition company, but then also, building that out as well.
And when you say building, it sounds like you have property management that you're also doing.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's whole game. So the property management and all that other stuff is what my brother handles. Not really the property management aspect of it, right? He's managing the portfolio side, right? How he's going to leverage it and all these other things, right? That's his thing, right?
Right.
So, and then I come in, I'll be real estate acquisition, if I need to show or do any of that stuff, we'll do that. Then we have let's say a contractor, which is also an investor type, but he's an investor, but he's an investor contractor, right? But he also has a decade of experience from new construction, rehab, flips, all that, right? He knows how to survey the ground underneath. He does all that, right? So we're reeling him in, and so you see how we're putting it's kind of like a Megatron thing, right? So we're putting, and these are all people that are kind of family friends, and we're kind of just connecting the dots. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. But me personally, right? If you talk about me personally, my goal is, if I was doing this all by myself, right? That's the direction I want to go in, right? So it's good that my brother's doing it with me, because my ultimate goal is to get to the bigger buildings, the bigger units, and all that, right? Because that's where the money's at, right? Because there's some opportunities in South Carolina as well, right? But that's further on down the line that I want to get to, because I went to school there, so I know there's opportunities for student housing out there, right?
Yeah.
So that's down the line, especially at the HBCU level, right? And specifically at HBCU in South Carolina, I know needs student housing specifically, right? So I want to get to stuff like that, kind of getting around these HBCUs and kind of develop, because what's going on, and I'll tell a quick story. What's going on in that South Carolina area is University of South Carolina is buying everything up, right? and the HBCU students are ultimately renting from them. So they're also
Mm.
buying around the HBCU as well. So, just kind of, thinking outside the box, stuff like that, So yeah. So that's what I want to, that's for me, that's the direction I want to go if I was doing this all by myself. Fortunately enough, my brother, it's also interested in growing like that. So we're able to, bring it together. So.
Cool. Did you say you're also doing like marketing, or are you marketing for leads around Camden at all? I only ask because like we're looking, I own one thing over there. We're looking for other stuff, but it's not easy to find.
Yeah, yeah, I've built, some significant relationships with some people in Camden. If you let me know what you're looking for, I could put it out there.
Yeah,
and
I can.
and if we have something in our portfolio that we're willing to, let go, and it makes sense, then yeah. And if it's something that you're looking for, then yeah, that's definitely something we could work towards.
We just made an offer on a
yeah.
quad on Front Street that we're trying to work out with a guy right now, but let off not too far off campus. But yeah, it's like there's not. I mean, obviously, Camden's not that big of a place to begin with, but there's not a lot that's available.
It really isn't, So like I said, my brother's heavy in that area. So if you have a criteria, that you're looking for, shoot it to me. And I'll get it to him. I'll be like, hey, listen, I got a real savvy investor. He's with KW, he does some one-on-one courses with us. He's looking to move into Camden, make some moves out there. Here's what he's looking for. Anything come on the table, run it by me, or and I'll get it to him, and then boom, we'll just go from there. And if we see anything that works for you, then we can say, hey, listen, here you go, Rodney, and then we'll move from there.
Cool.
But yeah, so but like I said, just trying to stand. I added a credit repair element just to what I'm doing, because as I started to build, my book of business. I will run into because I'm more urban. I'm deep diving into urban communities, right?
What are you best at? What is the number one thing you're best at?
I'm a relationship guy. If I was to put, that's what I'm good at, right? I'm great at creating relationships, right? That's what I do. I build with people. So you'll see me. Real estate works well for me because I'm always building relationships with people. You know what I mean? I'm always. That's why I picked real estate, right? I'm good at sales. Yeah. That's my background, sales. So that's my background. That's where I come from, sales, right? I've sold everything under the sun, right? So that's my background, right? So I have a passion for people. So real estate, sales and people. And then I thought, if I'm going to be selling anything, why not real estate? What else? At the end of the day, right?
Let me ask you, what part of there's a couple different things that you have going on right now. What part of what you're doing is like, what do you like the most? And because, or I guess from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you have a lot going on. And I am wondering if you focused on less. I don't know anything about your business or like how fast you're trying to get to where you're trying to go, but like if you tried to focus on 10xing like the best or most fun or whatever, what you like the most or what makes the most money, do you think that's worth? Have you thought about that a little bit? Like, hey, do we want to try? What do you like? If you're good at building relationships, because how much value does adding something like credit repair bring to you? Is it because you like it a lot, or did you add it because you love of how much income it could make?
No, I added credit repair simply because I wanted to help more people. Okay. And in my journey, okay. So for example, if I speak to someone and say, we're having a conversation, I'm saying, hey, I'm a realtor with KW, if you ever need anything, let me know, this, that, and the third, right? If that individual that I'm talking to doesn't even have the credit score, I'm no value to that person. The conversation stops and ends there. Even if they come on and say, hey, Al, I want to buy, but my credit is horrible. I got to send that person to someone else and trust that person is going to come back to me.
And so if you're doing credit repair, does that mean you're helping them with their credit repair? Or
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I'm helping.
sorry. And when I say you, I mean like you're specifically. I know you're gonna own whatever business that is helping them, but are you actually like pulling the report and going through the stuff with them, and you're doing the like the day-to-day parts of that?
Well, I have a CRM system, right, that makes that stuff simple, right? So they'll have a login portal. They'll log in. They'll go in and pick all the negative items that's on there, right? All I'll do is
Right.
just follow up with those negative items. I'll run them through the portal. It'll create the letters. I print the letters out and mail them. All that stuff takes about 5 minutes.
So, okay. So how many hours a day do you if I'm coming back to relationship building because
Mhm,
that's what you said you
mhm.
read. How much time do you spend a week like building relationships and reaching out to people? Because that's like the most money that's the most effective money making thing you can do in real estate.
But
And
yeah,
I
I mean, I do that. I mean, I'm doing that every day. Like I'm making my calls, I'm calling people, but most of my database, like I have 2,700 people in my database, right?
Mhm.
But I mean that they're scattered all over the place. You know what I mean? Because I was a college football player. I've met people from all over the country, right? So I
Mhm.
mean, I got people in South Carolina, Florida, Atlanta. So when I talked to my coach, Sean Castle, he said, "Listen, just focus on the people, your phone calls on the people that are in Philadelphia, right?"
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so I hammer those, right, and then I put the other ones on a smart plan, right, and I follow that.
Okay. So how many people do you need to, or if you don't mind me asking some of these questions,
Mhm. No, no,
like
it's fine. Go ahead. Yeah.
like like how much money do you want to make next year would probably be the first question I'd want to ask
Okay, so going into 2022,
for
I mean, well,
sales,
I
for sales,
for for sales,
through
you're talking about
sales.
in
Yeah.
real estate, real
In real
estate.
estate. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right. I would say my number when I talk to China about 200 grand.
Okay. And that's how many sales or units for you?
See, it was difficult for us to break down that number, right?
Just ballpark.
So he was like very minimum 2, 3 a month.
So two or three sales, real estate sales, you mean, as an agent?
As an agent, yes. That's what we're talking
Okay.
about, right? Specific as an agent.
Yeah, yeah. Or I mean,
Mhm.
I know you're doing property management, and maybe I don't know if the other income sources, or if this is what you want to focus on. If it's as an agent, then yeah, that makes it easy.
Yeah, I mean, but well, okay. So right now with the credit repair, I probably what is it, 1,500 a month?
That's what you're looking to make next year, or
No, that's what I make monthly,
okay.
and
So
it
would you
grows.
rather,
It
in a
grows.
perfect world, would you
So
rather be doing like what would be the split of like how much sales you're doing versus credit repair?
well, okay, in a perfect world, okay. So my whole thing for doing the credit repair is I'm literally creating my own buyers. That's really what I'm
So
doing.
if you could be doing like and then I follow that, and the businesses feed each other. I'm just saying, like
Mhm,
in a perfect world, like in your ideal day, or your
mhm.
ideal week, how much time is spent doing credit repair and how much time is spent doing sales?
Okay, no, that's a good question. It's well,
Ballpark, just whatever your gut tells
yeah.
you.
I mean,
20%, 30%.
let's say let's say I'll do it's a little bit. It's even. Let's say 20. Let's say 20, 30%. Let's just for numbers purpose.
Okay, so 20, 30% credit repair and the rest sales.
Yeah, and rest sales.
Okay, so ideally you're going to make 200 grand from sales next year, and I mean however much from credit repair, right?
Right.
So are you like, do you feel like you're on track right now to hit those numbers based on what you're doing?
Well, for the back end of 2021, I was just gearing up to go into 2022. Right. That's really what my planning was. Right. Um, so right now it looks like from everything I did towards the end of 2021,
Mhm.
if I'm consistent with that through 2022, I will hit those numbers. Yeah.
With the sales or the credit repair?
With both.
Okay, that's good. So
Yeah,
you have,
I'll hit both my credit. I'll hit my sales goal and my credit repair goal. If it all works like I want it to work, I'll hit both.
that's great. That's great.
Right.
Because what to hit 200 in sales, which is how much a month is that? 10 plus 80 divided by 12 is 50. So it's 15, 16, 16,666, something like that. So you need about 16 a month. So I would imagine if you're on track right now, that means you would already need to have at least 20 to 30 grand pending in sales income that's going to start closing in January.
Right. No, what I'm saying is my goal is like just from okay, so I don't have nothing on the books to close. So I'm just saying like numbers purposes. You know what I mean? I don't want to say I have it. So
Yeah.
when I say okay, going to 2022, lining everything up, if I do 2 or 3 a month, so what you're saying is I would have to do more than 2 or 3 a month.
If
In terms
there's
of
nothing in the
sales.
books now, then yeah, I think depending on what your average commission is, yeah. Because like we're in the doing sales, you're in like a 60, 90-day cycle. So the year's already started basically. So what you're pending right now is going to be closing probably the end of January.
Right. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. So on the average, what would you say? Because I broke these numbers down with Sean, and he was just like, it's hard because it was hard to get a hard number right off the 200 because he was like, if you put in, because I'm in pro coaching, so he was like, if you do pro coaching, and I think the split with Keller Williams and all that, it was a hard number for you to kind of figure out. So
it's somewhere around probably 260 or 270 that you actually have to make for you to walk away with 200. It's a little more than that, but I don't know if that's what you're asking, but
no, he was kind of trying to break it down to me in if you sold 2 units a month at average price, or you know what I mean, something like that. He's trying to, because it was hard. What he was saying was, Al, it's going to be very difficult for us to get this number because you got to put in pro coaching in there. It was a lot of moving parts that he was.
I
just
get
like,
what he's saying. I mean,
I'm
just throwing in 10, 15% on top for pro coaching. But if you want to walk with 200, you're going to need to make with your pro coaching and your cap and your fees and all that stuff, you got to make like 270. So 270 is 23 a month. 23 a month is 4 sales closed a month if your average commission is $6,000, which is fair to say. So you have to have a sale closed every week.
Almost. To hit the 200 going into 2022.
I mean, forget going into, but just generally, like you need about 1 closing every week.
Okay.
Right, to make 24,000 a month for 21,000. It's around that much.
Right. To hit the 270.
270 again. It's going to be somewhere around the high 2s or low, maybe even low 3s, depending on what your price is. But I guess all I'm saying is because I hear a lot of moving parts, and I think it may be worth coming up with a very solid plan with like, this is how many people I need to talk to every day. I'm just talking about sales. The credit repair, I don't really know much about. It's awesome if you have, other income coming in from that. But if you are best at building relationships, that your time may be more effective spent in sales. Most of your time might be more effective. If your credit repair if you like credit repair and it's helping people, you can do that too. But I think it might help to get clear on like, this is exactly what I got to do every week and how many people I have to talk to get to that number.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I talk to Sean once a week about this stuff. So we came to a conclusion, like, he was like, hey, listen, you just do 2 or 3 a month and we'll be good. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I focus on. Right. So for me, if I could do 2 out of the sales, right? Get 2 leads out of the sales, right?
Right.
And then pull 1 out of the credit repair.
Right.
Then I got that's my 3 right there, right? And if I work it like that, so that's my equation. So to your point, it's 2. If I work obviously my sales more, and then I try to pull one potential lead from my credit repair. You know what I mean? And then going down the line, what tends to happen is as I continue to work with these clients, they become more, they become eligible to buy more houses, right? You know what I mean? So So when their
Mhm.
credit score gets to a 680, then they're ready to buy, right? So now I have a funnel. So now I know what's coming down the pipeline. So I can say, okay, I got 10 people here that'll be ready next month, right? That are
Right.
ready and willing and able to buy. I've already been having a conversation with them about how much the down payment may be. We already talked about pre-approval and everything. So they're ready. So now I got a list of buyers, right? And then
Mhm.
I'm doing what I'm doing over here. So that's my plan, right? With the credit repair, right? Create these people, have them kind of simmering in the background, and once they're ready, I already know what they're looking for. I already know what their criteria are because I walked them through this credit thing, right? And then I'm the agent, right? So I
Yeah.
understand what they're going to need. So now I just plug them. All right, boom. I got this person. Oh, I know what they're looking for. I just pull them, plug, boom. Here we go, right? So
Right.
now
Right.
when I
Right.
create that system, it's easy. It's a feeder program, right? So now I can talk to sellers and say, hey, listen, you got a house to sell? I got a buyer ready to go right now. And I know the
Mhm.
intricacies. I know the intimate, you know what I mean? Because I walked that buyer through all that. So that's the method behind the madness, kind of, if I
I
can.
hear you. I mean, and if it's set up right, and as long as you're running it right, it's you got to have some system. Like everybody's got their own system, way of finding leads, and if credit repair is one of yours, and that's great. Um,
Right. So
so I know we kind of went on a complete tangent
right.
there
I know, but it was good. It was a good
for a minute.
conversation because it's only how many was it? Like three of us? I don't even know if the other guys are still here.
Yeah.
But I kind of been wanting to have a conversation with you anyways. And we could kind of grow on this, like I said. Because I mean the big Zooms, I like it, there's a lot of information, but I take more value to this right here, honestly. You know what I mean? Just being able
Yeah.
to kind of just
I
chop it
like
up.
having conversations too. It's better. I mean, talking to a screen when there's like a bunch of people on there is cool, but whatever. So,
Right.
did
But
you have any other
nah,
thoughts or questions,
nah,
Dwight? I know.
I mean, oh, enough for you talking about.
Yeah, I wanted to give him a second.
I'm good. I'm listening.
Okay, cool.
I'm
Dwight,
driving
hey
too,
Dwight, what do you
so
think? What do you think, Dwight? What do you think?
it sounds good, man. It sounds good. It sound like Rodney was just trying. I mean, it sound like Rodney just trying to get you to zoom in on your calls and focus on the real estate a little bit more, since relationship building is big for you and really maximizing your talent. That's what I kind of took from it, is just really focusing on, and that's something that I've been trying to do myself, as I've done a lot of things, coaching and teaching and real estate, and I'm been slowly but surely just cutting things off and just focusing on real estate. And that's what it sounded like he was trying to say to you. But it seemed like, man, you got a lot of stuff going on. The credit repair, that stuff sounds like a good idea as well, man. So kudos to
Right.
you, man. Keep it up.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt. I appreciate that. Yeah. No, I mean, like for me, like I said, man, I'm a career athlete. I've been being coached all my life. So when it comes to just advice, you know what I mean? I'm an open book with that, and that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to let you on. You know what I mean? I'm an open book because whatever I could take from you, and learn, that's what I'm willing. That's what I want to do, So yeah, definitely. I definitely
The,
appreciate that too.
the last thought I had, and in the spirit of like you're saying, you're looking to do bigger stuff, is although we're having this whole conversation about building a sales business, talking about credit repair, also remember that especially if you're trying to go for bigger stuff, if you decided to one day, and this is exactly what I think I may be about to do real soon, is like just change it all up and start going commercial hardcore. Like one sale, if you sell a huge $10 million, forget the word huge, if you sell a $10 million building, that's a year's worth of income right there.
Right.
And so if you just decide to point your relationship building in a whole different type of person in the commercial realm, that your time versus if you get good at it, that's what's been going through my head these past couple of months. I'm like, I know I understand these numbers, I'm good at it, we're working on this. I'm like, I don't even know if I feel like selling houses anymore. It's just like everything else, change isn't easy, but just food for thought.
No.
You can
That, I
always at any
mean,
point.
no, I mean it's funny that you say that, but I almost want to crawl for a walk, right? So I think my
Yeah.
mindset is the same thing. I'm like, man, I could just transition, and that's why I'm going to sit down and talk. Remember I told you with the commercial
Yep.
with my uncle's best friend who's been doing it for a while, and I checked his back. I mean, he's doing it big in Maryland because I just want to kind of pick his brain and say, hey, listen, man,
Yeah.
and you can say, hey, listen, Al, listen. Whatever you need to, and I'm willing to do whatever grunt work he doesn't want to do just to get in and learn. You know what I mean? That's my value. Whatever you want, I'll learn. and if that comes out to be something that, like you say, like, hey, listen, I could transition into this because I'm not too deep into this, then hey, why not? But like I said, I almost want to crawl before I walk. So you've learned,
Right.
you've gotten your hands wet a little bit. So you're like, you
That's
know
a good
what?
point,
I
right.
could step this thing up a little bit because now I know better, right? Yeah, so I kind of want
Yeah.
to go through that a little bit, right? Feel the pain
I'm
points and understand.
I'm really impatient now. I'm like ready to, I've done enough. Like I'm ready to, let's go. What's next? That,
Right. But that's interesting that you say that. Well, maybe shoot. Let me get your email. Like I said, let me connect you with my brother. The conversation, will probably be a little better with him. And I'm not saying we didn't have a good one, but I mean, y'all probably, kind of talk the same stuff. Especially looking to move into
Sure.
Canada.
I'll put my email in the chat thing.
Yeah, and I'll let him know. I'm like, man, my boy Rodney, works in the office, does a lot of investing. On his email, he, kind of has some, ideas for Camden as well. He'll hit you up.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll send you or just text or email me if you can. I'll send you what we're looking for at Camden.
Okay.
And I owe Dwight a call.
And then Rodney, real quick, and then I'll let you go. If you have any information, like just kind of steps you take, any information that you can be, valuable to me, just shoot that to me as well when I send you.
So I have a YouTube channel, and there's a lot of great videos on there, and I've got to get more consistent on getting back on it, but I'm pulling it up right now. I got a decent amount of good videos, and
Okay.
I'm gonna get right back to probably making like at least a solid video a week. It's just called Rodney Ross, the Real Estate Boss, but got a decent, got a couple dozen videos here, and I'm starting my podcast back up. So that's where I try and put all the thoughts that are in my head, and also on my Instagram too. Sometimes those are like shorter videos, but all the stuff that floats around in my head is on the channel right now.
All right, that's tight. That's perfect for me because I do YouTube anyway, so that's perfect.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to catch up. Send me an email, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Hopefully I'll see you
that
next
good
month.
stuff. Right. Definitely. You too, man. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Give good gifts. Drink some eggnog.
That's right.
All that good stuff.
I just want to take a bunch of naps. That's all.
Right. Just relax. Yeah. But no, I appreciate it, Rodney. I'll shoot you that information right now.
Sounds good. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Yep.